I want you to recognize that your daily habits are going to create your future, the future you that has those goals. So I want you to choose your habits wisely. This is one of the most important truths about success. It's really not about what you do once in a while, it's about what you do every single day that's going to help you get to your goals. Most people think that success comes from big breakthroughs. They just had this big old breakthrough and now, boom, they're successful. Or they had one viral moment and it took off. And sometimes that does happen. They get that lucky break, but that's usually not how it works. Many people have been working on that thing for a long time behind the scenes before it takes off. It's just that you didn't see that. You didn't know that. And then all of a sudden, boom, they show up on the scene and everybody's talking about them. Success is usually built in the small, consistent actions you take every day, the habits that you practice when nobody's watching you. And then it's really in that discipline that you maintain even when you don't feel like it. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. This week, I'm going to help you build those good habits. Let's talk about motivation versus habits. Motivation, it's amazing, right? It's the thing that gets you started. It gives you all that energy. It makes you excited about your goals. Usually January 1st and 2nd and 3rd, we're pretty motivated, right? However, motivation is fleeting. It leaves you. It comes and then it goes just like the weather. Here come the sun and there goes the sun, right? You cannot rely on motivation alone to achieve your goals. Why? Because motivation is going to fade. There are going to be days when you just don't feel motivated to go after your goals at all. Days when you're just tired and you don't even want to work hard towards your goals. You don't even want to do anything that's related to your goals. You're tired. You don't want to do it. And this is where your habits are going to jump in. Habits don't require motivation. Habits are just automatic. They are ingrained within us. You will do them without even thinking about them because they have just really become a part of who you are. The secret to long-term achievement is building habits that support your goals. These are habits that are so strong, you do them even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not thinking about it. You've been doing it for so long, you just keep doing it. And that's what we're going to focus on this week. Before we talk about habits, let's talk about strengths because your habits need to be built on a foundation of who you already are. Yes, you're trying to become somebody else, someone who achieves your goals. Maybe you're trying to become a social media influencer. Maybe you're trying to become a speaker. Maybe you're trying to become an entrepreneur. Whatever those things are, we have to look at your strengths first, and then we can talk about building your habits. All right. Now we're building from who you already are. We got to start with who you are right now. Everyone has strengths. When I talk about strengths and when I'm saying strengths, I'm talking about those things that come to you naturally. These are things that you're naturally good at, and everybody is good at something. I want you to think of those things that people compliment you on. What do people say about you? Here's some examples. Determination. You're someone who doesn't give up easily. Creativity. You really do think outside the box. And sometimes when you tell people your ideas, they're like, what? But it's those creative things that are going to make you successful. Problem solving. You are someone who always finds solutions when others see roadblocks. People get a little irritated with me if they want to call me and cry for hours about something because I am naturally a problem solver. As soon as you tell me about the problem, I can give you about 2 minutes of tears and then I'm already thinking about what the solution is. We'll talk about why I'm like that later. But if someone says that you are always solving problems, or better yet, if you are the person that people always come to with their problems because you have good answers, chances are problem solving is one of your strengths. Compassion, you care deeply about others. And I'm going to repeat that same thing. If you are the person that people always call because they're looking for your compassion and you're a good listener, then you probably have compassion as one of your strengths. Write that down. You need to know that. Communication, you express yourself clearly. Wow, you made that very clear to me. Communication is probably one of your strengths. Leadership, you naturally guide people. Sometimes we don't recognize our leadership abilities because of the way that people respond to us uh, when we take on leadership. But I'll give you a good way to figure out if leadership is one of your strengths. If you walk into a space or you're in a meeting or you're in a place and you can clearly see what the team needs to do or what the group needs to do, and you're frustrated by the lack of leadership that's happening, it's probably because you have leadership skills. It's just a matter of you owning that, okay? So consider leadership as one of your skills. Then let's talk about resilience. Resilience is that ability to bounce back from setbacks. People rarely see their resilience because they are so consumed sometimes with the setbacks. But I want to help you do that mindset shift. It could be that because you have overcame so many difficult situations, that one of your strengths is that you are resilient. You have resilience as a strength. And then strategic thinking. If you're someone who can see the big picture and then work your way down to the small results, you probably are very good at strategic thinking. Again, think about problems. I hate to have you think about the negative side of this, but think about the problems that you have overcome because you put some strategies in place. Maybe you lost your job and quickly you found a way to start a business and make some money. You're probably a pretty strategic thinker. And so strategic thinking is one of your strengths. So this week, you're going to identify your top 3 strengths, not what you wish you were good at, what you are actually good at. Many times people focus on their weaknesses, but it's important to leverage your strengths, to look at those things that you are really good at and start from there versus looking at your deficits, because I think that sometimes naturally that's something that we do. But we're going to leverage those strengths to overcome any obstacles and help you to achieve your goals, because your strengths are going to help you get to your goals faster than your weaknesses. All right. Your strengths are your foundation, and we've got to build on them as we go forth in having you achieve your goal. Now, let's talk about how habits actually form, because understanding this will help you build the kind of habits that stick. Habits are usually built through 3 components. And I know that there's this old idea that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Way back from 1960, we found out. It actually takes a bit longer, more like 60 some days to build a habit. However, 21 days sounds a lot easier, right? So let's talk about the science of building a habit so that you can get to building that habit much faster, okay? First, you got a trigger. This is a cue that reminds your brain to start the habit. This could be a specific time of day. It could be a location, or it can be an action that you just completed, or like an emotional state. I'll give you some examples in a minute. The next component is a routine, the behavior itself. This is the actual habit that you're trying to build. You got to make it simple and you have to make it specific. And finally, it's the reward. This is the positive reinforcement that makes your brain want to repeat the habit. This could be a feeling of accomplishment. This could be a physical reward, or it could simply be the result of the habit itself, what happens as a result of doing that habit. So now, let me share my 2 foundational habits with you. And these are simple, but I promise you they profoundly impacted my life. The first one is making my bed every morning. This habit has become as natural as taking a shower every day. It sets the tone for my day. It instills discipline in me and order, and it gives me a sense of accomplishment before I even leave my bedroom. I have goals for the day, but I tackle my first goal every day, and that is let's just make up this bed. It really settles me and makes me feel like, okay, that was one win for today. The bed looks good, right? The second thing is I thought about like, why does that, really set me off for the day? And it's because I like the reward of coming back at the end of the day and my bed is made and it's ready for me to jump in it and pull the covers back. Now, I got to be honest, I have arguments with my family members all the time because they're like, why are you going to make that bed? You're just going to come back and mess it up. But again, it's that feeling of accomplishment. Remember, we're talking about the reward. It's that reward that I get at the end of the day. So I do it. And no matter how chaotic my schedule gets, I feel like at least I completed one thing today. I made my bed today. I have made that such a habit that I clearly don't even think about it anymore. Sometimes I will come back to it, or sometimes while I'm doing it, I'll be like, I just made this whole bed without even thinking about it. And usually when I'm making the bed, I'm thinking about all the other things I have to do for the day. So I'm not even thinking about that bed. But I do it so naturally, sometimes I'm actually surprised that I'm not even thinking about it while I'm doing it. The second one is I spend time with the Lord every morning. I just do. I wake up and that's the first thing I do. I thank God that I've woken up this morning before I even pick up my phone or check my emails and start planning for my day or responding to anybody. I spend time talking to the Lord. Specifically, I take time in prayer and in worship or in reading scripture. And literally, you know what I'm looking for that day? What I like to call my daily bread. Lord, what are we going to do today? The other thing that this does to ground me in peace and in purpose is sometimes, like the chaos of the world and all the problems that you've gone through the day before, they can take over your mind as soon as you wake up in the morning. It's kind of like waking up in your right mind and what happened yesterday and what happened last week and what are all the things that you have to tackle. I do what I call a division of duties every morning. And it's kind of funny how when I think about that term, a division of duties, but I always think about this idea around what I can control and what I can't control. And so, in order to clear my mind and center myself, I will really turn those things over to God that I cannot control. Those things that are about changing people's heart posture towards something, or just those things that I can't do anything with. Every single morning, he knows I'm coming. And I'll say, Lord, you take care of these things. And I promise you, I'm going to take care of the things that you have allowed me to do. And I'll take care of everything that you've called me to do. And that time that I spend with God, being grounded in peace and in purpose, it's a non-negotiable for me. It's a habit that I built and I just do it again without even thinking about it. So these two habits, making my bed and spending time with God, they're really simple, right? But they have transformed my mindset, my productivity, as well as my overall success. Let me ask you, what are your foundational habits going to be? And think about those foundational habits you already have, because remember, we're thinking about where we currently are and then what we can use to build our habits on. So let me tell you about Dr. Sarita. She's a wife and a mother of three. She's working full time while pursuing her PhD. Talk about a packed schedule. Before she implemented the daily habits, she was overwhelmed. She struggled to get dinner on the table. Have you had that problem? She couldn't carve out time for deep work on her dissertation. She was just overwhelmed. And by the end of the day, she always felt guilty about all the things that she didn't do that day, whether it was spending time with her kids or whether it was just trying to juggle all the things at once. That stress was really taking a toll on her. Then she decided, she decided to take control of my schedule. And she did that one habit at a time. So here's what she did. She plans her day the night before. Every evening, she reviews her schedule and maps out her priorities. She schedules deep work time for her dissertation instead of working in these scattered and unfocused sessions. She has blocked out a dedicated time to work on her dissertation. She maintains a clean and organized space because we know that a cluttered environment can make it really hard to focus. And she plans out her meals on Sunday, and that makes it easier for her to make it through the week. She has eliminated a lot of the daily stress about what are we going to cook today. Listen, that used to stress me out when my kids were younger. If I didn't know what my kids were going to eat by 5 o'clock, or if I didn't know what my kids were going to eat by 3 o'clock, I was stressed out. And so in order to not have that stress, I had suggested to her that she should plan her meals on Sunday. Another little thing that I did that really helped me when my kids were younger and I was working on my PhD and working full time, it was going to the grocery store and buying all the meats and cooking them and not putting them in the freezer. Now, I know that that's crazy, especially for people who don't like leftovers, but the cooking of the meat saved me so much time. It was a habit that I had to develop. And so every Sunday, I'd go to the grocery store and I'd at least cook all the meats. Sometimes I would make the whole meals and set them up. It actually excited my kids because then they had some idea. What are we going to eat for dinner on Monday and on Wednesday? And what day are we going to eat this? So it was really exciting for them. Of course, there were days when we would have good fresh meals, but it also saved me some money too, because on those days where I was really busy, then I could either pull something out of the fridge or I had saved that money that I could maybe on Friday buy pizza instead of having it be a Monday. Now I'm really busy and I haven't cooked anything for the kids. And now I'm scrambling to some fast food restaurant trying to provide the kids with some dinner for that night. So you see how these habits are now the results of what Dr. Sarita had done in order to complete her dissertation. She started homeschooling her kids. She successfully launched her business, all while maintaining balance as a result of the habits that she built. By shifting from that reactionary chaos, not knowing what's going to be for dinner on Tuesday, to intentionally setting some daily habits, she was able to achieve that PhD where it once felt impossible because of all the things that she was inundated with. So you see how building those habits can really help you, and I'm going to help you do that. People always complimented me on. This is going to help you find your strengths. What comes naturally to me that other people struggle with? What challenges have I overcome and what strengths did those experiences reveal? That's a really good one. I'm going to read that one again. What challenges have I overcome? You know, those hard things you had to go through in life. But when you went through them, what strengths did that experience reveal? And here's a powerful one. What would my life look like in 1 year if I consistently practice my new habit every single day? Woo! That gives me chills to think about it. Next, I want you to really think about that. 1 year from now, 365 days of making your bed. What could that do for you? 365 days of spending time with God. God wants us to spend time with Him every day, by the way. 365 days of reviewing your goals. 365 days of doing some sort of exercise or physical activity if your goal is weight loss. What would that create in your life? What would happen? Now, I'm not saying you're going to do that habit every single day. Guess what? There are some days I forget to make that bed. And then I want to beat myself up when I come back to it and it's not made. But even that punishment of not having a bed made makes me want to get back to that habit so that it feel good about doing it. All right. Some days we just fall off. Let's just be honest. We're human beings. We're going to fall off. But if we have it as an intention, there's a chance that we will more likely do it. All right. And so journaling, of course, it helps you go deeper. So I want you to think about these things. If I am the only person in your life that makes you think deeply, well, by golly, here I am. This is my purpose. This is why I'm here. This is why you clicked on this video. This is why you're in my course. I want you to think deeply about these things because I know if you think deeply about them, you will achieve them. All right. So do this journaling because it connects your actions to your purpose. And when you feel purpose behind your actions, the chances are you will continue to do that thing and reach your goals. So I want you to set aside that 15 to 20 minutes this week to work on the journaling. This week's tech tips are designed to help you build better habits. So I've included some prompts in the course. They include how to design your habit stack. We like to stack habits on top of each other. They include overcoming habit obstacles. So those things that stand in the way of you doing your habits, creating a 30-day habit challenge. So challenging yourself. And finally, I have that resource in there on identifying your strengths. AI can help you with all of that. Even when it comes to identifying your strengths, you might be saying, ChatGPT don't know me. Well, if you've been interacting with it, it knows you. One of the interesting things that I saw recently on social media, and my kids and I started doing it, my kids are all grown-ups, but we all started doing it, is just simply asking ChatGPT, tell me the hard truths about myself. When I tell you that a couple of my kids had done that, and then they came back and they read what ChatGPT said, we were floored because honestly, these were the things that I knew about them. But after they had interacted with ChatGPT for a while, the computer knew a lot about them too. So if you've been interacting with AI, it can read you. Like it'll shock you a little bit. So ask it. Tell me about my strengths. What do you know about my strengths? And then follow that with ask me questions that will help you to tell me more. So if you haven't really interacted with it a lot, it'll ask you questions. And then if you go back and forth with it, it will tell you what your strengths are if you don't know what they are already. This week, I want you in the community talking to us. So this week, I want you to share your new habit publicly on the community engagement page in our course. When you commit publicly, your accountability increases dramatically. How many times have I said that, right? And you're significantly more likely to follow through. So what do I want you to post? I want you to post your new habit. I want you to post why it matters to you. I want you to post your trigger, what triggers you to do this habit. And then I want you to tell us how you're going to track it. So find another person who may have a similar habit and then commit to checking in on them for the next few days. And as you build your habit, I want you to come back and celebrate. Day 1 complete, or something like I made my bed for 7 days straight, or my morning routine is becoming completely automatic. And we'll all celebrate you. All right. Every day, I want you to complete your habit as a victory. I want you to celebrate it. I want you to feel good about completing your habits. And make sure you share your strengths too. When we recognize our strengths out loud, we start to believe in ourselves more deeply. So share your strengths with us. It's not bragging in our community. Maybe out there on Facebook, maybe with some of your friends or some of your family members. They don't want to hear about your strengths. No, we want to hear about your strengths. We want to know that you have recognized them, because when you recognize them, you figure out how that you can use them to meet your goals. All right. You don't have to do any of this alone. Come on into the community and let us support you. That is what we're here for. It is our entire purpose. Now, I want to leave you with this scripture. It's Ephesians 2:10. I'm sure you've heard it. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Wait a minute. What? Those things that we're working towards, He's already prepared for us to do. We just have to walk in it. Oh, that's real good. All right. Remember, you are God's handiwork. You were created with a purpose. All of us are. He gave you strengths. He gave you gifts. He gave you abilities that are uniquely yours. Nobody else can do what you do, how you do, when you do, what you do. All right? That should just feel real good. All right? God prepared good works in advance for you to do, but you have to show up. You have to use those strengths He gave you. You have to build the habits that position you to walk into your purpose. Your strengths are not random. God gave them to you. Your habits, they're not just about productivity and being productive. They are helping you to become all that God already knew you would be. God called you to the work that you have on your heart. What do we say? God, give me the desires of my heart. Yes, He will give you those things your heart should desire. And guess what? They become your goals. All you got to do now is just walk in it, right? All right, so here's your assignment. Step 1, complete the strengths discovery exercise. Step 2, ask 3 friends about your strengths. Step 3, choose one habit and then design your trigger routine reward. Step 4, start your 21 days of tracking it all. Step 5, check off your momentum moves. Step 6, do that journaling. And step 7, come and talk to us in the community. Share your habit in the community. This is week 3. I'm glad you made it through week 3. You've defined your goals, you've claimed your time, and now you're building this strong foundation of strengths and habits that are going to carry you all the way to victory. Remember, we're going from vision to victory in this course. So next week, we're diving into blocking out distractions and protecting our focus. So you'll learn how to block out distractions and even prioritize all the things you need to do. You'll prioritize like a pro. But first, make sure you build on that foundation, recognize your strengths, establish your habits, and do it every single day. Remember that small actions build big. Let's get it.